Rubes, this football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest, to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Tim Tebow, Josh Freeman, John Kitna, Christian Ponder. How many of these guys could have been future Hall of Famers, gold jacket, bust, chiseled, placed inside of Cooperstown? But because of quarterback coaching malpractice, some terrible coach, he's got no idea what he's doing, terrible coordinator, organization's just a mess, no players to work with. It's sad, really.
Well, maybe Rick Spielman was a personnel genius this entire time, but he just didn't hire the right head coach to pair with that great talented quarterback.
That could be. Some people are suggesting that I'm a radio producer whisperer.
Huh?
Ethan McIntosh, he was brilliant. Davy Joe Simser, brilliant. Okay, 2 out of 3. You can't meld everybody into it.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, though. Like, you've taken a mediocre talent like me, and you've still made a successful show out of it.
Yeah, I still like the cheap shot better than 2 out of 3. At least I developed 2 out of 3. I mean, tend to be there's something about you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, or you can't make a purse out of a silk cow's ears. I don't know what it is. Time for
I'm still waiting for that big payday in free agency from another radio station that Sam Darnold's going to get.
Yeah, I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't hold your breath.
Time now for
my chili is sitting
questions.
in the microwave. It wasn't hot.
Actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Right,
so it's getting chilly, is what you're saying.
Brilliant. Very good.
Question number 1. NFL No Huddle.
The San Francisco 49ers destroyed the Chicago Bears 38-13 yesterday at home. Common, are the 49ers back?
Well, if you'll remember, you completely wrote them off last week. They're done. They're done. And I finally admitted they were done. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I said, I still think that team's got a chance. Record-wise, they're terrible. Are they 6-7? But because
6-7, yeah.
But because the West isn't very good, same with the South, right? I mean, you've got divisions that you might have a team that's 9-8 win the division. So I don't think San Francisco is done yet. Are they finally getting healthier or not?
I mean, Purdy came back. They're still 2 games out of a playoff spot. With 4 to go?
Yeah. How many?
They got to leapfrog 4 teams. So
yeah.
They got to win out.
Yes, they do. Well, is Seattle? They're in first in that division, right? Rams 1 game.
Yeah, Seattle's 8-5,
and the Rams are 7-6. Did the Rams finally
Rams beat Buffalo yesterday?
Yeah, they finally. That's the first time they've had a winning record this year. And what are the 49ers? 6-7 then?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough to get in, but you got the old chip and a chair and a chance.
Well, speaking of the Buffalo Bills, they put up 42 points, but it wasn't enough as they lost to the Rams 44-42 in a shootout yesterday in L.A. Common, does this setback change your view at all of the Buffalo Bills?
I was texting and talking with more people than including Shrink Wrap Guy, and they were very, they loved that game last night. And I said, I don't mind it. Maybe 1 3-and-out. The defense makes some kind of an effort to stop the other team, and that got to that pinball machine kind of football, arena football league type. But I guess it was entertaining. I wouldn't want a heavy dose of that. I don't know. I think the Rams are just dangerous. I mean, I know everybody, and you can make an argument. I did when the season started, and I think somebody associated with the show just dismissed my idea that we had the best wide receiver combination in pro football, because I was really high on what Addison did last year when JJ wasn't around, and I was summarily dismissed. But you could make an argument that, I'm going to see if I get his name right, Puka Nacua?
Yeah.
Got it right, finally. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are the best wide receiver duo in football. Could you?
Yeah, then Cooper's getting a little bit up there in age. You could make that argument. You could argue Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah, the Miami duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't know if Waddle, they haven't been as good this year.
Right. But what was your question?
It was about the Buffalo Bills.
So the Rams are a good club, and when they're hitting on all cylinders, tend to be, that's a dangerous offense because Stafford is still really good. I don't know. I mean, Buffalo still they were able to keep pace offensively. So no, I don't say, well, now Buffalo's done and you give up on them, stick a fork in them. But I mean, I would be mildly concerned if I was a Buffalo fan because that defense was not very good yesterday.
Both Pennsylvania teams took care of business yesterday. Eagles take down the Panthers. Steelers crushed the Cleveland Browns. Common, which Pennsylvania team is better, the Eagles or Steelers? And who's more likely to get to the big game?
Pittsburgh, I think. I like Tomlin. I always have. Defense wins championships. It seems like Pittsburgh always has a quality defense. Am I wrong there? Because, I get criticized by the text messengers that say you're wrong again, bad information. And
they win a lot of years with some poor offensive play, including your guy Kenny Pickett that you mentioned previously.
Correct. But Mr. Unlimited, he's got a rebirth there. He's played really good football. The Eagles, the Freeman character is interesting. He doesn't seem to put up a lot of numbers, but he doesn't turn the ball over either. Offensively, I don't know. I can't put a finger on. They have a good defense too. I still don't trust them though because of what happened last year. I like Pittsburgh better. You? Who do you like better? I like Pittsburgh better.
Yeah, since like the first 4 weeks of the season, I don't know if there's been a team better than Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And that Carolina, I know they only beat Carolina by 6, but the Panthers have been playing much tougher in recent games over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. So they're improving.
I like Pittsburgh.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
As the listeners know, we're only bringing this up because we like the negativity of the Wolves losing, apparently. So that's why we're bringing this up. That's why we're talking about them. The Wolves allowed 44 points in the third quarter as they lost the Golden State Warriors 114-106 last night in San Fran. Anthony Edwards scored 27 points, had 6 assists, but he also committed 7 turnovers and was just 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. He also declined to speak to the media after the game, citing that he doesn't want to get fined again for cursing. Comment your thoughts on last night's loss to the Warriors.
It's more of the same. This is worth a good full segment, so we'll get deeper into it later because we're on till 3. We got the head coach of the Vikings with this day after the game news conference shortly. But I've decided that Timberwolf is the perfect name for this franchise because they're the boys who cried wolf. They're always talking about how they're going to get it figured out. They're going to start making effort. And they're going to start doing this, and they've got it all figured out. We're going to start playing defense again. We're going to do this, and we're going to do that. We're going to spread the ball around. And then they go back to their same bad habits, their sloppy basketball. And then after a couple of losses, they'll say, we're going to change our ways. It's going to be the new look Wolves. And then for a couple of games, they play really well. I mean, that 3 or 4 game stretch there, they won 3 or 4 games in a row, and defense was back to the defense they played last year. They held, I think, 3 consecutive games. They held the opposition under 100 points, which is that is something to verbally slap a team on the back for, because it seems like in this day and age of 3-point shooting and no teams really want to play defense for 48 minutes, it breaking 100 seems like it's just automatic. And then last night they gave up 44 points in the third quarter. And many,
you've got to be kidding
me.
me.
Of those points were after Wolves baskets when they were just inbounding the balls again. They were getting transition baskets. And then what did your guy Ant do? See, this is where Ant, maybe the maturing thing is, I just can't believe you've played basketball as long as you have, you don't know. He was caught up. They played Golden State 2 games before. He was caught up in him and Steph going back and forth. He tried to hero ball it last night. He missed his last 7 shots. He wouldn't give it up. Even admitted, I probably should have passed it around. It's like, it's just childish. It's just so sad.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
When they play that they're capable of, they're really good. They just don't do it often enough or consistently enough. Let's take a break, come back when we do. Head coach of the Vikes, day after the game news conference here on the Fan.
Your Minnesota Wild are red hot to start the season. Don't miss out on seeing them in action. Tickets are available now at wild.com/hockey tickets. That's wild.com/hockey tickets to get your tickets today.
Tap dancing now, doing my best impression of Fred Astaire, though I'm really much more of a Ray Bolger fan. Do you know who Ray Bolger is, Tennessee? You may not know the name, but I know you know who he is. He was the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. Ray Bolger, if you watch The Wizard of Oz, the best movie ever made, it's a musical and they do song and dance and such like that. And as Dorothy is on the way, she's walking the yellow brick road on her way to Oz. She stumbles across the cornfield and there's the Scarecrow. And then he joins her on. Here's KOC.
Really just wanted to start out today and make sure I circle back. What an unbelievable atmosphere it was yesterday at US Bank Stadium, and December football, an NFC team competing to find their way in the playoffs just like we are. I thought our fans from the very beginning, the first time I walked out, you could just feel the energy in the building. Thought they were just fantastic all day long, and we're going to need that again. Divisional opponent this week, Monday Night Football. Very, very excited for what lies ahead for our team. Got to have a good week of preparation. Thought our team really, a complete team feel to how we won that game yesterday with the turnovers, being forced by our defense and won by special teams. And then obviously Sam leading the charge on offense with Jets and JA. Pretty spectacular day. Aaron Jones getting in the end zone late there. So there was just a lot of really positive things to pull from that game. And as always, a lot of things we can identify to continue kind of shaping our team to be the best, version of our team we can be. And it's going to be important here down the stretch as we continue to take on, not only NFC opponents, but 3 out of 4 in the division.
Is wearing women's underwear part of your turnout?
Steph Gilmore or Pat Jones. We'll just see how they're both doing really well. Both got some good work in today, and we'll see how the week progresses with the extra day, which I think will allow us to get a good day of padded work early in the week, so then we can kind of hone in on the game plan as we get closer. But I do want to make sure we take advantage of the extra day coming off of a home game, so it should be a good week of prep for us.
Kevin, was there anything that stood out to you when you reviewed the tape from Sam's day that maybe you didn't see or realize in real time?
Couple throws that, from my vantage point, maybe looked a little bit, more clean or easier than they probably actually were. And it just the pitch and catch feel between, really, Sam and Justin and Jordan was pretty spectacular. There was some high level stuff going on in rhythm, some kind of sneaky hidden plays here and there to either convert third downs, which we were pretty good on throughout the day, or even on, I know we didn't end up converting the field goal, but we set ourselves back on the first drive of the second half and end up getting a 15-yarder to Justin. Sam kind of protects him with the throw. Justin's right where we need him to be, and we at least gave Will a swing at that thing. So just little things like that, which is all good football when you think about all of those things transpired and that kind of production happened with no turnovers and a couple plays there, either Jay down by the goal line or Sam in the pocket when they allowed that return that could have gone either way. So we got to continue to identify those plays regardless of the result, and we can't forget about those things and keep making sure we're coaching the right things for all 11 guys.
Kevin, both JJ and Aston seem like they really excel at tracking the ball.
Yeah.
On those deep throws and being able to adjust. What all goes into that?
I think it's, I would love to sit here and say that it's, it's something you can coach up, and you do. Keenan does a great job drilling different things, but I think ball tracking from a receiver, especially down the field, that is a natural gifted thing that just, things are happening so fast, guys are moving so fast, to be able to, the real elite ones, like I think both those guys are, and when it comes to that, they're tracking the laces of the ball, the revolution. The way the game slows down when the ball's in the air, the way they're able to track and understand exactly how to either pace themselves down and like Jordan did on his first touchdown and come back and get the football, play through contact, like he did on, his long kind of post he had in the second half. And Justin's clearly, thinking back to some of the plays he's made down the field over the last, almost 3 years now. I think it's something that those guys are really special for, and it's something that I've always looked at. I can remember, a guy that always comes to mind is Deshaun Jackson. When, I was coaching against him in the division when I was in the NFC East for that, a couple years there. I just remember being like, that's the trait, not only a guy that can fly, but a guy that can track the ball and really effortlessly make something that's very, very difficult look easy. And there's been great examples of it, but I think we got 2 of them right here in our building for sure.
And kind of to that extent, on the other side of the ball, how much of what Byron Murphy does tracking the ball is something you can teach a corner, or how unique is that at that position?
Yeah, I always joke with those guys. Most of the time, that room is filled with former, high school receivers that think that they could easily do what Jets and JA do. So I make sure to never miss an op to let them know that there's a reason why they're in the DB room. But Murph is one of those guys that I think has a really plus ball skills, and it matters when you think about some of the interceptions he's had. Yesterday is a great example to be able to track that receiver and essentially catch it one-handed. Would have loved for him not to be at the yard and a half from the goal line when he did it, but it's definitely something that makes him somebody you cannot just throw the ball up for grabs. He got us one time my last year in LA. We actually were trying to throw a deep ball to Deshaun Jackson, I believe at the time, and he tracked it as if he was the receiver with an elite ball tracker like Deshaun going for it as well. Always stuck with me, his ability to make a play on the football, and it's been huge 6 times this year.
And you guys have been pretty disciplined in keeping, in the here and now this whole season. And I'm wondering, to what extent you're kind of reiterating that to him, or is that just him not, being willing or interested in talking or thinking about long-term implications of what he's done? Yeah, we've a lot of our dialogue from the very beginning has been about both him and I. I've kind of equated it to, there's things that I'm trying to improve on in my role here that I'm going to be doing on a daily basis, and really, trying to be at my best for the organization, and let's do this together. And I know you're going to be on that same journey as a quarterback. He's playing so well. He's so rooted in the moment, and really his process of, I could probably tell you where he is right now in the building, even on a day like today. I mean, he has just been so demanding of himself, but yet I also love the way he's, hasn't put the weight of the world on his shoulders and I think he can do that because of the way he's worked and prepared and been coached by, Grant and Josh on a daily basis. And with those other quarterbacks in the room, I think he would be the first one to tell you those guys, have been incredibly supportive of him. But I also think it's important that we're not talking about it too much, where if every single day I'm telling him, hey, let's just focus on today, don't worry about it, then it becomes maybe I should focus on more than just today. That's how I would handle it if I was him. So I think, I just can't say enough about how Sam's handled himself, thinking back to the different kind of moments throughout his journey this year, and how he's maximized every single op coming out of what's been a very successful season, chasing improvement, and I think we saw it on full display yesterday.
What's working with Josh McCown been like from maybe what you thought when you guys brought him in as a quarterback's coach? Yeah,
my number one goal of bringing Josh here was to have, a guy really in that role with those quarterbacks that could totally be, kind of that equalizer for us as far as the temperament of the quarterback, the understanding of situations in the game, how, not every snap is created equal as far as what you're going to do with that football in your hands. And it's allowed me to feel total trust that, all those little things are being communicated, and it's allowed me to be better for the team in a lot of ways by, knowing those things are being reinforced. And then my dialogue with Josh, not only throughout the week, how we're preparing the quarterback,
quarterbacks, and then how, you know, those 3 hours go on Sunday has been fantastic. I think he's done a wonderful job, and I think Grant Udinsky and Josh together, you know, I don't know if there's a better two coaches you can have as far as, you know, what makes each guy really special, working together, and how close they are, and how, you know, I think it's Josh's leadership running the room, and I think it's Grant's ownership of information and the work he puts in that gives these quarterbacks high levels of readiness to go play.
Coach, I know that you and Sam have both emphasized like not getting too high or too low, which definitely makes sense. I was just wondering though, there was a point in like towards the end of the game yesterday where they showed Sam on the video board on the sideline.
Yeah.
He was just really hyped, and obviously the crowd built off of that. Just I guess in a moment like that, what do you appreciate about just seeing him having so much fun, but then also just kind of building off the crowd and vice versa?
Yeah, I thought that was a really, really cool moment, you know, between that and Jets and JA, you know, I got really nervous they might show me and how I'm going to totally kill the mood right now. So I thought it was a really cool moment, and just once again, that's what I'm kind of you know, connecting with our fans. Like it's the best venue in sports. It's an unbelievable place, but like you know, I guess you would call it like intimacy of our fan base and our players. Like we really value that, and you felt it in that moment. And the never too high or too low thing, that's when he's between the white lines. That's when but shoot, on the sideline after that kind of performance, I'm just glad he had a towel to wave, because I don't know what he would have done if he didn't have a prop there. But really, it was a really special, cool moment for sure.
Kevin, with Gabe Murphy, I'm just curious, what did you guys see from him right away to in such a big role here?
Yeah, I think he's just a little different from a standpoint of, you know, you saw him inside a little bit more. You saw him in some different spots. He's really versatile. We've kind of framed his role in many ways, you know, after Andrew Van Ginkel's role, where, you know, you can see DT and, you know, is a little bit more in that, you know, Jonathan Grenard, you know, framework, but all those guys are so versatile. When you just, you know, Pat Jones has been a huge part of our team. So when you can prepare Gabe to maybe assume a little bit more of even that role, splitting some of those duties with DT, keeping all those guys fresh, I think it was really a performance I've been waiting for, just because it's been a long road for Gabe, coming off of a really impactful training camp. And, you know, I thought Dallas Turner was really, you know, active, and you felt the athleticism and the juice. A couple plays he ran down, physicality. So I was really encouraged by both those guys yesterday.
Where do you think Jordan has come the furthest as far as becoming a complete receiver?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's really learned, you know, how to play bigger, play stronger, play through contact, because that's what this league seems to be. You know, that beyond 5-yard contact rule. Some games it exists more than others, and he's had to play through that at times, especially with how Justin gets defended. Normally the player that's defending Jordan, or even if it's within zone coverages, these guys know that they're being told this guy will be wide open if you don't get your hands on him, and that's couldn't be more true. But now he's actually proven that he can play through that contact and play down the field through contact. I mean, the catch against Chicago, I know he was mad at himself for not catching both the deep balls through contact last night. He drew a penalty on one and caught the other, but I just think that's, you know, all part of what we projected with Jordan, knowing he had elite quickness, separation skills, fantastic hands, and ball tracking like we talked about. As he's gotten stronger, he's put a lot of work in, and it's showing up with his play style, even how he blocks. I mean, he's even on the 98-yard drive, they brought a safety pressure. He had kind of over motioned on a play, and he's able to still, I think it was either Simmons or Bates, gets him blocked, and Cam bounces it and runs for, you know, a first down. And that's, you know, a guy that's, you know, those two safeties are two of the better safeties in football, both in the run and pass, and Jordan's getting the job done. So it shows up all over the tape for Jordan.
Kevin, going back to that moment with Sam, just like, what's it been like for you to watch the fan base really embrace him?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been, you know, there's there was clearly going to be, when we brought Sam here, some enthusiasm of what he could become, and we were certainly confident in that if we just coached as hard as we could and poured into the player, knowing that he's talented, knowing that he's athletic, he's smart, he's got a great way about him. I envisioned, a moment like that, maybe not, to that extent, but you envision that when your goal is set, you set out to, achieve a goal together, working side by side with players. And when you start to see them truly realize that, it's a cool moment. That's why we do this. That's why I love this profession. And I love winning more than anything, but I consider those little wins the reason why we do this job. And Sam's a great example of it. I love getting a chance to, just watch him every single day on this journey that he's on here in Minnesota and just relishing in the op. And that's what he's done. He's been great.
Is there anything that was lacking when you were a player that, in terms of just quarterback specifically, that you said, if I get to be a coach, I'm going to make sure I do that? Around the league, people are calling you the quarterback whisperer. So is there something specifically you said, I'm going to make sure that this is done for who I coach?
Don, there's a clock over your shoulder there. So we may, I don't know if you guys have enough time for that answer, but here's what I do know. I just think that, throughout my own personal journey, I just tried to always be hyper aware of whether it was something I was able to do or not, learning the right way to do things, learning, taking stock in what helped not only make my job easier to attempt to do something that's really difficult, but watch other guys do it and watch them go through their journeys and try to support them. Maybe if I wasn't, playing or competing to start or competing to bat, whatever it was. And then I got into coaching and felt a real-time way of, like, even the smallest little things you can help with can sometimes be the difference between a team having success or not. And I was coaching Josh McCown my first year in Cleveland, believe it or not, and having him as a player who was older than me at the time tell me, like, dude, you're really helping me. This is awesome. Coach, I want you to coach me hard. And that kind of gave me the green light to, pour everything I have into this job and do it for the betterment of others. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have done differently as a player. I wish I would have had more awareness on to actually do things differently in the moment, both mentally and physically. But I do feel an incredible connection to the position because of the fortunate opportunities I've been around players, coaches, my own journey, other people's journeys, and just tried to always evaluate that to help myself get better in not only this role as a head coach, but play caller, quarterback coach, just, a guy that helps try to have guys play at their best.
Time for 2 more questions, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Kind of a dramatic way to end, too. Sort of like it was almost like it's a 3-act play where they talk about why are you so brilliant at what you do? You're the quarterback whisperer. He didn't deny it. He didn't say, well, come on, let's not get carried away. I'm not a quarterback whisperer. He just kind of ran with it.
Well,
and maybe he is.
He's got contract negotiations going on right now, so he's going to take all those.
Should we break, or do you want to straddle?
Let's walk it up for about 7 more minutes.
So let's straddle. Now, Tenneby, you know me. I really wasn't listening. I was just mixing the sour cream and the cheese with my chili.
Yeah.
Did he say that Jets not only watches the rotation of the laces, but counts the revolutions of the football? He didn't say that.
You've got to be kidding me.
Nobody believes that, do they?
They used to say Tiger Woods would count all of his breaths. He knew how many breaths he would have while he was walking.
The idolization and pedestalization in the mythic proportions that we elevate athletes to will never cease to amaze me. You can't count the revolutions in a football spinning. You ever watched a tight spiral that's been spun, spun? It's literally, a machine couldn't do it. A computer couldn't do it. Artificial intelligence couldn't even do it. And you're telling me as he's running his pattern, going through all those things, he's counting the revolutions of the football. They say you want a sorry, I got to go in a lower key. They say you want a revolution. Oh, well, I count them. I mean, come on. He's the best wide receiver in pro football, and if it's because he counts the revolutions, he should maybe get into astrophysics or something.
When you hit a 10-foot putt, you don't count the revolutions in the ball as it's going into the cup?
Well, they don't go in the cup that often, but when they do, no, I don't ever cut them. I count them.
I always.
You know what I'm thinking, by the way? I just came up with it. We're always trying to find nicknames for players and such like that. Jets, and he's JJ and all that. How about we call Darnold because he's just he's destroying all these teams. We call him Darnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator.
More Amsterdam guy?
No, me. You don't like Darnold Schwarzenegger instead of Arnold? See, Darnold Terminator. I haven't got time to bleed. No, that was the wrong character. That was Jesse. In a Schwarzenegger movie, though, wasn't he in it? Wasn't that when Jesse was in a Schwarzenegger movie and his famous line was, I haven't got time to bleed. Darnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, terminating another defensive secondary, terminating another team. I think it's got potential. I mean, I suppose I could send it back to rewrite and have him punch it up a little bit, but...
So obviously in Terminator, he's famous for saying, I'll be back.
I'll be back. Here you go. I hope he does come back. I just hope it's not for one of those 5-year, $150 million contracts. Which does...
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you want to win. Think about it, Tenneby. It's all sort of coming together. Do you think we could get... Remember when we got Tice to come in and go, Detroit is a tough guy town.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is a tough guy town. Denver is a tough guy town. Houston is a tough guy town. Do you think we could get Sam Darnold in and do his best Schwarzenegger impersonation and do those? What were they again?
You think he knows who Arnold Schwarzenegger is?
I don't know. What were those lines again? They was famous.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. And get him to say it like that. I'm Sam Darnold on the fan, and I'll be back. He's so good. We got to have fun with this while we can. We don't know how far this thing's going. I mean, again, when you look at where we've been, where we're going, and where we're at, let me see if I can find this. Another one of these stories I saved, Tenneby, or maybe it was I just saved something. Hold on. Thank you. I know I saved it. It was a really precise breakdown. And I know I saved it. It was a precise breakdown of, sorry, I cleared my throat, about the Vikings and their chances of making, getting the, oh, here's something you can kill time with. It's a CBS Sports. They do an overreaction or reality, okay, to performances, results, and such like that. Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback this year. Overreaction or reality? They say reality.
This year, yeah, that's a reality.
He is. He's arguably had the best game of his career in Sunday's win for the Vikings, finishing with 347 yards, 5 tutties, and a 157.9 passer rating, which was a Vikings single-game record. 153.8 is the best. No, 158.3 is the best, right? Why is it 158.3? Has anybody answered that question? And why didn't he why was he 0.4 away from a perfect day? Did he not line up his feet with his eyes, one pass play, or what was it? Did he not count the revolutions correctly of the football or the laces? How do you not get what was it who puts together that formula, and what does it consist of? I suppose I could ask AI, but I just find it preposterous is what I find it. And I can't find the story I wanted about about. I'll look for it. I'll get it on the other side of the break. I got time to find it. I want to talk about the Vikings' chances about the playoffs, and I think we should explore a little bit deeper about what the Vikings should do with the quarterback situation long term. I think that's part of it, too. We've still got the Wolves to get to. That was, you got the leader of the team that doesn't want to talk to the media, afraid of swearing, which he does often. I've seen some of his uncensored news conferences, and he'd make you blush, that's for sure. Well, we'll break, and when we do, when we come back, as we go to break, Tennessee will tell us what's happening with the Wild, and then we'll get to the other topics as well.
Yeah, this is Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. Wild got 3-point nights from Matt Boldy, Kirill Kaprizov, and Marco Rossi, who scored a pair in a 5-1 win in Anaheim on Friday night, but they followed it up with a 4-1 loss to the Kings the next night in Los Angeles. And that game, Marc-Andre Fleury stopped 30 of 32 shots, but still lost his first game in regulation this season. Up next, the Wild will finish off their 3-game road trip tomorrow night in Utah. Yes, first ever trip to Utah for your Minnesota Wild. That was Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795. The Fan and Shields want to make your holiday shopping a little easier this year. Whether you're shopping for the perfect gift or treating yourself, this is a contest you don't want to miss. Head over to our contest page for your chance to win a $450 gift card. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
We got a giveaway coming up sometime today before the end of the Grum, just before 3 o'clock. Legendary singer-songwriter James Taylor and his all-star band will be coming to St. Paul to the Fuse Box June 17th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. We've got a pair to give away, though. We'll do that a little bit later, so be listening for your chance to win. Tennessee, we don't dabble much in the front page news, but I think this is probably worth mentioning. I think most people are following the early morning murder in Manhattan last week of the United Healthcare CEO, was lived in Maplewood.
Maple Grove,
I'm sorry. Headline, United Healthcare CEO shooting latest. Person of interest, Luigi Mangione, under arrest. Dateline, doesn't have a dateline to it. Police are questioning 26-year-old Luigi Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So I guess Altoona, Pennsylvania would be the dateline. As a person of interest in connection with the brazen Midtown Manhattan murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last week. That's according to authorities. Mangione's from Maryland. He's been arrested by Altoona police on unrelated gun charges, according to authorities. He was on a Greyhound bus traveling through Altoona on Monday morning, sources say, when he got off and walked into a McDonald's where a witness recognized him from the images of the suspect circulated by police. Mangione was sitting and eating when a McDonald's employee reported him, and because of that, we believe we have a strong person of interest. The New York City Mayor Eric Adams said at a news conference Monday. Adams said he matches the description of the person we are looking for. At the McDonald's, he appeared to be wearing clothes similar to what he was seen wearing in videos obtained by detectives in Manhattan. Mangione had a ghost gun capable of firing a 9mm round and a suppressor. He was in possession of a handwritten document that speaks to his motivation and mindset. According to NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, police said it does seem that he had some ill will toward corporate America, and authorities are going through his writings more thoroughly to understand his motive. So whether they got the right guy or not, what I've been talking about with friends and family and acquaintances, Tennessee, and I'm sure you've been following the story as well, when they showed that picture where apparently he was flirting with an employee behind the counter at that hostel that he was staying at, when that picture, I mean, that's just crystal clear. You don't even do portraits. You don't sit for portraits with pictures that are that crystal clear. And I was surprised in this day and age of Twitter, how many people do you think know you, Tennessee? Know who you are? If they saw your face, they would go, well, that's Brandon Molesky.
Maybe hundreds?
Hundreds, maybe even more, right? I'm surprised nobody on Twitter went, well, I know who that is. I went to school with him. He was in my third grade class. That's Joe Bag of Donuts. But that never...
I'm sure a lot of people did, but you can't believe any of it now these days, right? Like there's people that are...
But I still would never saw that come up. I still would have thought somebody... You're right, nobody might not believe it, but that I don't think it was ever, to my knowledge, No one ever identified him that way. And I was talking to baby brother Peter about it, and he's a fairly bright guy. He said, like, if somebody from his school he saw him, he doesn't know if the first thing he would do is jump on Twitter and go, hey, I know who that is, and say who he is.
Sure.
Not because he's worried about turning a bad guy in, but it's just not the first thing you would do. I still think of the hundreds of people that knows him, somebody would have done that. So then that got me to thinking, because if you read all the theories that are out there, they're just off the charts, including he had a lifelike mask on and wanted people to see him. So you know me, curiosity killed the cat. I typed in lifelike masks. You have no idea how you can make a mask to put over your face and it looks just like a real face.
I mean, I've seen it on like Saturday Night Live.
Well, yeah, but they look real. I mean, it's like you look at it. I mean, if you went really close to him, you could probably see where, under his eyes there, I can see where the plastic mask ridge is. But from a distance, some of them, what I saw online, were like, that's remarkable what they can do nowadays. So, did I hear they found in the backpack that they found in New York City, there was a jacket and Monopoly money in it?
Yes.
The story gets stranger by the day, but that's the update for you on that story. So I thought that would be, because that just broke not too long ago, within the last, I think, less than an hour ago. I did find that, Tim. Give me the thank you. It was under a different story, labeled differently than I thought it would be. It's under the overreaction story. So we were talking about Sam Darnold overreaction story, but here's another one. The headline of the overreaction is, and I want you to tell me if it's reality or overreaction. Vikings are bigger threat to Lions getting number 1 seed than the Eagles. Vikings are a bigger threat to the Lions getting the number 1 seed than the Eagles. Do you think that's an overreaction or reality? According to CBS Sports.
I haven't looked at the Philadelphia Eagles' schedule the rest of the way.
They say it's an overreaction. See, the Vikings and Eagles have the same record at 11-2, but Minnesota's in the same division as Detroit in the NFC North, while Philly resides in the NFC East. Minnesota does have the privilege of playing Detroit again in Week 18, even though the Vikings are a game behind the Lions and have lost to them already this season. For the Vikings to take home field advantage away from Detroit, they not only need to beat the Lions in Week 18, and that's assuming they win out and finish with a 5-1 record, they need the Lions to lose one of their next 3. Bills, Bears, 49ers. That combination is the Vikings finishing at 15-2 and the Lions at 14-3. If they both finish at 15-2, and you and I talked about this last week, the Lions would have the common opponents tiebreaker since they beat the Rams and the Vikings lost to them. The Vikings can rely on the Bills to beat the Lions. The Eagles and Vikings still need the Lions to lose 2 of their next 4 if both teams win out. If the Lions beat the Bills, the Vikings and Eagles need Detroit to lose 2 of its last 3. Eagles have to bank on the Vikings to beat the Lions in Week 18 if Detroit loses a game prior to that. Minnesota wins out and wins the division. Philadelphia holds the strength of victory tiebreaker to give the Eagles the edge in playoff seeding. Neither Philly nor Minnesota are a bigger threat to Detroit as the Lions control their own destiny. So it's nitpicking there a little bit, but obviously Detroit, as we know, doesn't need to be said, is in the driver's seat. And it looks like the Vikings need a little help too, because tiebreaker situations with Philadelphia, if they ended up tied, still seem to favor Philadelphia, at least according to this story. So. And of course, I don't really understand the story, so I could be wrong there. But yeah, I think most, if there are really only 3 teams that have a chance to get the number 1 seed anymore, right? Green Bay's out of that picture. So there's 3 teams that have the opportunity. Detroit in the driver's seat, our soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles. I would assume all Viking fans and Eagles fans will be rooting for the Bills this upcoming Sunday. That's a 3:25 game. So the Vikings will know when they take the field Monday night against the Chi-Town Bears whether their game is to keep pace with Detroit or tie the Motor City Kitties for first place in the NFC North. And if that happens, then it's all bets could be off until that final game of the season at Litterbox. And that game is probably just scheduled for a noon or a 3 o'clock start now, but my guess is that game gets flexed. Obviously, if it's for the division title, that's probably a Sunday nighter. Can they do that much flexing? Because I know there are certain time slots or games all these networks can protect. And I don't know how that one would be. Because on the last game of the season, NBC would be salivating. I mean, you've been waiting all year for that Sunday night. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's pause, come back. Another hour to go. It's the Common Man program here on The Fan.